I know probably most of you didn't read the title of this or read the description of this video at all, but this is not the DJI RS4 Pro. This is the DJI RS3 Pro. And I know what you guys are saying. Why are you doing a video on the RS3 and not the RS4? Well, because DJI doesn't send me these things with their embargo deals where I get it a few weeks early to do any type of full review or anything like that. And I mean, I have to go out and buy it with all my own real money. And I mean, because of the current state of the economy and all that stuff right now, going out and buying a brand new gimbal, just not in the cards right now, for being honest. However, I did have the opportunity to take a look at a few of reviews on the new RS4 Pro, and I wasn't that impressed. Now, obviously, there are some cooler new things and whatever that make it better than the other one, like stronger motors and better algorithm that's helping with stabilization, and they were talking about some Teflon coated stuff to make it slide a bit better on the axes, which is all cool. But the real feature that stood out to me was that vertical ability on the new RS4. So essentially you could take off this base plate part here and flip it over or flip it up, and then it'll take your camera and its orientation and just make it vertical, which is what actually prompted me to make this video for you guys. This video is going to be for the people like me who are not getting free camera equipment on the internet, but still want to be able to do some of the cool things that some of the newer cameras and camera equipment is able to do. So in this video, we're going to talk about how to take my red Komodo X, put it on this gimbal, and shoot vertically. Let's talk about this. So the RS3 Pro has been my gimbal of choice since it came out. And I mean, compared to the RS2 Pro or whatever they were calling it before, this was just amazing. It gave you longer arms, it gave you more torque and power, and you were able to start balancing cameras that just weren't mirrorless cameras, right? So like the Komodo and Komodo X, and those type of cameras were actually able to balance on this guy. So that's what really drew my attention to it. In recent times though, we've got into this whole world of like vertical content. And now if I'm going to be completely honest with you, I don't like it. We don't see the world in a vertical aspect like that. We see it in a horizontal aspect. So filming things and throwing it into that 9:16 aspect ratio just so that it's suitable for social media, it annoys my soul. But we are in a time and space now where that is what the consumer wants, and that's where they want their content to be on social media. So we have to adjust. So let's take a look at the Komodo X and just see exactly how I build out my camera just so that we can get it onto this in the first place. So if you look at my build and you've seen any of my previous videos on this camera, I kept it really, really simple. I have a top base plate from Bright Tangerine. I have a side rib also from Bright Tangerine. I have the wing grip, or is that what they call it? The wing grip from Red. And I just threw a a NATO rail on here. And on the base, I have a Bright Tangerine base plate. And this is literally all the components that I use to build out this camera in both the vertical and horizontal aspect ratio. So let me show you guys really quickly what I do. So I'll turn the camera on its side real quick, or upside down, and I'm going to take off the base plate. Then what I'm going to do is turn the camera on its side like this. I like putting it on this side because this is where I want the bottom of the camera to become. And because I already have all these 3/8 and 1/4 20 screws here, I could just basically take this base plate and screw it right in on here. So let's just do that real quick. This is now the new orientation of the camera. So you guys can see right away, we already have the camera in its vertical aspect. I like to do it this way instead of the opposite way because, again, I have all those 3/8 and 1/4 20 threads there. And I also have access to my memory card slot at all times. So if I need to change my card or whatever, it's as easy as just popping it open, sliding my card in or taking it out and going from there. One other little bonus thing that I have is this little tilt gimbal, 15mm rod. And let's start building it out and just see what we have to put on there to make it all work. So the lens that I decided to use with this is the DJI Vespid Primes, the 60mm. And I think it's honestly probably the perfect lens for this type of setup because it's wide, it's light, and it looks fantastic. So cool. Now we have the lens on. The next thing I want to put on is my battery source. So let's go ahead and grab that. So the batteries that I continue to use are the Core Nano 98 watts. And I think it's the best size, weight, and capacity for these type of cameras, especially the Komodos. And then the plate that I use to get the battery onto the camera is this little small rig plate. And essentially it's two parts here. It's a plate that will hold your V-mount battery. And then it's a little attachment that you could just literally just screw in here. And this is what slides onto the base plate of the actual gimbal. So I could take that, slide it on the base plate, and then just lock it down. And then I'll take my battery and lock that in as well. Now we have something that more or less looks like that. The next thing that we want to do from here is start putting in the cables that we're going to use to connect the SDI monitor and power the camera. So a cable that you need for sure is a 6-pin LEMO to a P-tap. So let's go ahead and connect that right now. The next thing we're going to need is a 12G SDI cable. And I like this one made by, I believe the company is called Sharp. Yep, Sharp. And the reason why is because it's 2 right angles and it's a very long cable. So let's go ahead and plug that in as well. Okay, so this is future me coming back because I just realized that I showed you guys how to set up my monitor in a horizontal aspect ratio, but not in a vertical aspect ratio for what we're doing here. So let me show you guys really quickly how I set this up. So if you don't know already, I use a Small HD Indy 7 and I've been using it now for probably about the last 3 years. And the reason why I love this is because it has those 1/4 threads on the bottom and on both the sides here. So as you can see, I already took one of my little attachments here from my magic arm and I screwed it onto one of those 1/4 threads on the side. And as for my magic arm, you can pretty much use any one that you want, but the one that I use is from a company called iFootage, and I believe this is from their, I think it's called their Spider Crab line. Don't worry about it. I'll leave the link in the description if you guys have never heard of it. But basically, this is the magic arm that I use, and I love it because it's kind of like futuristic, if you want to say that. Like they did some time to really put in some ideas on how to make this magic arm a little bit better than the average. And I just like the way that it worked. And that's the reason why I use it for what I'm going to be doing now. So just to show you guys really quickly, this magic arm uses these little attachments. And the reason why I love it is because it has these little stops here that allow you to get like anti-twists. So if the monitor that you're using or anything that you're using has anti-twist, these go right in and this won't unscrew itself. And if it doesn't fit with the anti-twist option that you have on whatever camera or setup that you're using, these retract. So I don't know if you guys can see this on camera, but it retracts and just goes into like the accessory. And the other thing that's really great is that this is a 3/8 thread. And if you have a 1/4 thread, this also retracts and reveals a 1/4 thread. So it's very versatile and it works on every single camera or accessory that you want to try and work it with. This will work with it. So the first thing I do with this is I take it and put it onto the small rig arm that I use. So I put it right here and then I just twist and lock it. And because of those anti-twist things, this will not twist or turn at all. So I love it. The next thing I do is you guys see I put another one on the end of the monitor. And basically what I'll do after that is I will take the magic arm and just get it right on there. Lock it. Cool. And then I will take the monitor now and place it in the other end. and lock that. And then what I'll do is I'll just kind of like loosen it a bit. And I'll just get this monitor as straight as I can in whatever orientation that just kind of feels right. And then I'll just lock it back. And then again, this is nice and solid. There's no real wiggle. Everything feels good. And now I have something that kind of looks like this. And it's just perfect because if I want to change this orientation for any reason, I can just release the magic arm and it'll move it wherever I want it to go. It's out of the way and it gives me the perfect perspective on what I need to see in terms of what's coming out of the camera on the monitor. So this is how I do it. So going forward, ignore the other setup that I have and just follow this idea. So the axis I like to mess around with first is the tilt. Or not tilt, the whatever this is called. Not pan, but whatever it's called, right? And we can clearly see that it is too heavy on this side, so we got to move the camera that way. Let's lock it there for now. Cool. Next axis I like to work on is this one, the tilt. So we can see that it's pretty much back heavy. So we got to move it forward. The kind of feel for it, which is right around there. Cool. And then we're going to test. Then we'll test this this axis next, and we can see it is extremely back heavy. So we have to adjust this a bit. You just want to get it to where it kind of stays standing up. So somewhere like that helps out with the top heaviness. And if we come back to the neutral stand, we should have something that kind of stays in place. It doesn't move around too much, kind of stays in that space. So I'm cool with that. I'm going to lock that one more time. I'm going to double check this axis one more time. And yep, this seems to be where it wants to stay. Perfect. I'm going to unlock this axis next. And we're going to see where the camera wants to go once we tilt it a little bit. And wants to go that way, so we got to come back a little bit. So that to me is in pretty good balance. So let's go ahead and lock that back as well. And yeah, we're in pretty good shape. This is now how you get a vertical balance on your Red Komodo and shoot everything on a gimbal in that vertical aspect ratio that everybody wants. So yeah, that's pretty much how I would build out my RS3 Pro with my Komodo X to get that vertical aspect ratio that everybody wants. Hey, and I mean, if DJI wants to send me out the RS4 Pro so I can do a full depth review on it and share with my audience, by all means, I think I'll definitely do it. As of right now, what's offered by the RS4 Pro, I pretty much have everything from the RS3 Pro. So I don't know if I'm going to be upgrading it anytime soon, and if I do, it would have to be for a very significant reason. If this video helped you in any way, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you don't miss any other ones. And if it's not too much, hit that like button as well because it really helps this channel to grow. I will be leaving a link in the description below for all the parts that I put on my Komodo X to help it balance and get put on the gimbal vertically. So if you have any questions about that, that's where you're going to find the answers first. But yeah, that's going to be it for this video, guys. I want to say just thank you again for continuing to support my channel and come in and watch what we do here. And if this helped you, make sure you share it with a friend. And always remember to look, learn, and share. Take it easy, guys. Peace.